Hi there, Erica from Feel Your Core. Thank you so much for joining us today. So the last video I did was about supersets. So today's video is going to be about compound sets. What's the difference, you ask? So compound sets is going to still be a strength endurance technique, but now what we're working on is the same body part. All right. So we're still going to go for that kind of straight up strength exercise, and then we're going to couple it with no rest with more of a stability aspect on the same body part. All right, so you'll finish that whole compound set. You'll wait your 0 to 60 seconds, and then you'll start the next exercise. Okay, or you could wait 60 seconds and then just do that body part over again for however many sets you want to do. Ideally, if we're thinking strength endurance, we're thinking 2 to 4 sets, so somewhere within there. And then you can go on to the next exercise with different muscle groups. It's your workout. You can play with it however you want to. The idea here is that we are going to stimulate muscle growth. Okay, we're going to stimulate muscle endurance. All of these exercises are going to involve your core. We're going to have some balance challenges, and hopefully with the idea of these compound sets, this workout should be very efficient, and we'll get you in, we'll get you out, and on your way. Let's do this. Last week, when we were doing supersets, we mostly did upper body. So this week on compound sets, you're gonna see us work a little bit more lower body. And this first exercise is a full body exercise. I really do enjoy making my first exercise a full body exercise just to warm up everything. So it's an oldie but goodie. It's the squat, curl, and press. All right. So I have my legs about outside edges of my feet, about hip bone distance apart. Arms are resting comfortably by my side. I am thinking about activating from the ground up. So metatarsals, those bones after the toes, big toe mound, little toe mound, inner heel, outer heel. I think of those four corners of the feet, and I think about like a suction cup to the center of my foot. That helps me lift my arch, which then travels all the way up my center line, and I'm ready to move. So first move is that nice squat. And then we're gonna curl as we lift and press at the top. And again, so lower, curl, and press. If you're trying to make this a little bit more dynamic, you can use the hip action of coming out of the squat to help you get those arms overhead. Or you could just keep it as 3 different exercises, right? So you have your squat, and then your curl, and then your press. Otherwise, it's squat or press. Okay, so let's do 4 more. And remember, we're wanting to work with a weight that is challenging. By the time we get to somewhere to the end of what is either 8 or 12 reps, we want it to be pretty challenging. And let's do 1 more. Last one. Exhale to come out of that squat, curl, and press. Awesome. So I'm going to keep both these weights, and I'm going to go into a single leg squat, curl, press. So lots of options here. I can actually take my foot all the way off, hold it up. I can just kind of take the toe off and work that way. And I can also just kind of leave my toe on the floor for like a kickstand action. So what I'm going to do in this one is I am going to send my leg out a little bit. You do not have to do this, okay? So you can do either of those options I suggested before. And what I love about this part is it's gonna be the balance challenge, okay? So we're gonna need our core. Here we go. So we're gonna squat down as much as we can, kind of squat down and then curl and press. You can already see that the balance piece is very challenging, which means I'm gonna stop talking so much. I have 2 more on this side. Exhale. And the last one on this side. Exhale at the top. I'm going to switch legs. Remember, we always want to be balanced before we start moving. So here we go. Not yet. And here we go. Squat, curl. I needed the little kickstand to help me on that one. The squat and curl. Woo. And press. I am right leg. I am like right hand dominant, but you wouldn't think it right now. a little bit more concentration. Let's do 2 more. And overhead. Last one. Oh, here it comes. We got this. Squat, curl, and press. We made it. All right, so what I just did there was 8 reps. And what you saw me do was 4 on one leg, 4 on the other. You can hear that I'm starting to get out of breath. That means my heart is beating in my chest, which means more calories burnt as that heart rate starts to move. We did a compound exercise so that we were squatting and curling and pressing, and then we integrated that stability piece by trying it out on one leg. Good job. I'll see you in the next exercise. I did sneak one upper body exercise into this one because it's 2 of my favorite exercises for the back of the shoulders. So this exercise is going to be a face pull, and the exercise we're going to do to compound set that is going to be a single leg rear delt fly, okay? And so the first thing that you want to do, if you're using a cable machine, you want your anchor point to be right at about face high, and I would say maybe nose to forehead high, okay? The setup for this exercise is crucial to be able to do it in a way that helps build your strength and keeps you in a range of motion that is safe, okay? So again, that positioning is going to be face high, maybe nose to forehead high. And then if you're setting up a band, same thing, anchor point is right about there. So I like to take, my handles around my wrist so they're not flopping all over the place. And I also, when I'm going into an exercise that needs external rotation, I like to have my thumbs, I'm calling this thumbs up, and orient them in the direction that I'm going because it helps me to stay focused. So I'm going to face my anchor point. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a split stance for this exercise. I just feel nice and stable that way. And then I'm going to lift my elbows so they're slightly kind of in line with the shoulders, but I know my body, so I actually have them a little bit lower, okay? So parallel, and then I just drop them just a bit so that I don't get my upper traps overly involved in this exercise. And you want to think, if you've ever been on a pec deck machine, you want to think about starting that way, all right? So 90-degree angle at the elbows in front of the shoulders, and then lightly drop those. And so what I'm concentrating on is I start to open my arms out to a goalpost. I'm also externally rotating my upper arm bone, my humerus, as I pull this back. And then when it's time to come back forward, I'm going to lead with those elbows and forearms coming back together like that pec deck I told you about to start again. So I start to open. I'm already working the external rotation of my upper arm bone and my shoulder socket. And then I'm bringing it back in. Okay. So I can already feel that I'm getting a little chest pokey. So I got to think about that as I open. And then lengthening that upper arm bone and elbows forward as I come in. So I'm just going to breathe through these last couple. I have 4 more. Here's 4. These are deceptively challenging. 3, 2, and last 1. Okay, so usually you'll see somebody maybe have the rope on either side. So that's why I did the band so that they can separate, which allows me to open. I'm thinking about reaching my elbows away from my body and working the external rotation, and then staying nice and aligned, staying in external rotation and that shoulder joint as I come back in. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think. This is going to be a superset. This is going to be a compound set with the single leg rear delt fly. All right, so I have my weights right here, ready to go. I'm just gonna kind of take a step away here. And I like a little bit of a bent elbow in my rear delt fly because I also like to think that the movement is not coming from my hand, it's not coming from my wrist, it is not coming from my forearms, it is coming from my upper arm bone. The motion is coming from what's closest to the trunk. And sometimes we forget that when we have like weights in our hands or handles in our hands, or straps on our feet. We still want to work from closest to the trunk. All right. So I am going to bring my feet a little bit closer together. I'm going to find my balance point. I am going to hinge forward, a little soft bend in my elbows. I'm going to go ahead and bring my hand weights together, and I'm going to press the ceiling away with my upper arm bone. Exhale, draw the abs away from the floor. Let's do 2 more on this side. And 1 more. Again, thinking about, I'm going to go ahead and switch legs. Thinking about, and we're not moving till we're balanced. Thinking about that external rotation in the upper arm bone. I'm going to have to move away just a little bit. And exhale, belly away from the floor. Thinking about lifting the ceiling off of me from that upper arm bone. Good. Let's do 1 more. And done. And again, that muscle fatigue sets in super quick because we're hitting the same muscle groups back to back with little to no rest. All right, I'll see you in the next exercise. Next exercise is hip lifts. So again, start position. I'm thinking about my feet. So again, pushing the floor away. And you may even be able to see that as soon as I activate my feet, I have activation already, right? I can feel it right here, okay? So we're gonna focus on the glutes right now. So as a reminder, when I say activate my feet, I think about pushing the floor away. So being active through my feet, and then thinking about those bones behind the toes, the metatarsals, the big toe mound, little toe mounds, inner heel and outer heel. I think about those 4 corners of my feet, pulling that to the center. Now my arches are lifted, and now I start to feel the inner thighs engaged. I'm going to have my elbows bent so that my forearms are down here for these hip lifts. So I can also, for me, focus on keeping my chest open and the backs of my shoulders down as I do these. So we're gonna go for 8 of these, and my mind is on my glutes. And so what I'm really trying to focus on is making sure that my glute activation happens and that I can open up this hip crease, not hyperextend through my low back. And my goal for myself is to see if each one can have a little bit more activation. We haven't really talked about tempo yet, but it's a moderate tempo, ideally, moderate or slow. I'm going moderate. So I'm lifting for 2 and then lowering for 2. So there's energy and control to lift and energy and control to lower. No kerplunk. As we lower with control, we decelerate. That's a whole nother group of muscles that comes in to take over that energy after we finish the concentric portion. So let's do 3 more here. Maybe I'm doing more than 8, but who doesn't like a little bit more booty work? I'm also thinking about reaching my thigh bones away as I do this. That helps me from pulling my heels towards my seat and then activating too much hamstring. I want mostly a glute contraction here. And so I cue myself that way. I cue a lot of my clients that way. Think about your knees reaching away over the toes, and then my tailbone is chasing the back of my kneecaps. So that helps me think, oh, tailbone towards the kneecaps, even more booty action to open up my hip crease and lower down. All right, so right away, we're going to just bring those feet a bit closer together. I'm gonna bring this leg in, and the key with this single leg is that this leg doesn't do anything, okay? The abs help you keep it, in. Some people like to straighten it, and that's fine too. But what I often see when people straighten the leg is then their hips get a bit off kilter, and they're reaching up with this leg, and the leg that's doing the work is the one that's actually touching the ground. All right, here we go. Let's do it. So again, here I am, and exhale to lift, and exhale to lift. And I'm gonna put my hands on my hip bones here for a little bit of tactile feedback for myself to see are my hip bones staying parallel? And so am I lifting both sides of the glutes equally with this one side glute that's already exhausted from the first hip lift exercise. But that's the point, right? Left, 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 and lower. Let's do 3 more. Come on, glutes. Mind-body connection is so real. And for me, I really have to think about that. I just realized that right now I have my leg up. I said I was going to keep it in. So here we go. Last 2. And last 1. Let's squeeze. Love it. And lower with control. Let's do the other side. All right, let's see what my line does on this one. All right, I got it where I want it. I like it pretty close to my glutes so that it's underneath me. And then again, the farther out I go, the more I feel hammy. So I like it pretty close. And then here we go. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, left and lower and left. Come on, you got more in there, sister. You got this. And exhale, left. Really thinking about this contraction of my glute. And exhale, abs draw in. And hips left. 4 more. 4 and 3. Last 2. And the last 1. Get up there, sister. And lower. I literally talk to myself like this when I work out. So if you do too, you are not alone. All right, so those are my hip lifts and then my single leg hip lifts. On to the next. So this exercise is called pull-throughs. So you can do this exercise on a cable machine. You can also do this exercise with a band. So you can do the continuous band like you see me having here, or you can use a band with handles on it. Any kind of band will work. Ideally, we want to attach the band at the lowest level of whatever we're attaching it to. Okay, so if you have like a, what are those called? The door mounts, like when you close the door and you have a door anchor, that's the word I was looking for. A door anchor, you want it at the bottom of the door, okay? If you're on some kind of cable pulley machine, you want to get that pulley all the way to the ground. If you're attaching it by your own band, just at the very bottom of what you're attaching your anchor point to, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stagger the band that I'm working with, and then I'm going to walk forward just a bit until I start to feel a good amount of tension. All right, since I do have a continuous band, I'm going to put my hands on either side, so I have hands on both. And then I am going to have my legs nice and long. I'm activating through my feet, thinking about the ball of the foot, so the metatarsals, big toe mound, little toe mound, inner heel and outer heel. I like to think about suctioning those points, like a little suction cup to the center of my foot. I can feel my arch rise. I can start to feel the energy rise all the way up through my inner thighs, my center line. All right, so again, we always want to start position that's active. From here, I'm going to keep my legs nice and long, not locked out, but nice and long via muscular contraction through my legs. And then I'm going to hinge. Okay, so I'm going to push my hips back, and then I'm going to pull my hips through, okay? The thing that I do like about using a band is right now I think that I want a little bit more tension. So I've just moved my hands down the band a little bit. And the idea here is as I pull my hips through, I can feel the work all the way through the back line of my body. So I feel the stretch as I hinge, and then I think about pulling up a tight pair of leggings or maybe pantyhose for us ladies that are pantyhose inclined. I pull up the entire muscular cylinder of my leg as I pull my hips through, or I think about bringing my pubic bone forward. I think about stretching out my hip crease. So you are going to feel glutes here because you are in hip extension at the top. But what I'm really looking for is that nice stretch through my hamstring and then the strength through my hamstring to help pull me through. Let's do 3 more here. Here's 3. Exhale, left. 2, pushing the booty back. Exhale, abs in. Last one. And pulling through. So now that we finished that one, we are going to compound set that with the next exercise. I'll see you there. So we just finished our pull throughs, and we have our trusty stability ball standing by so that we can lay on down and get to the stability portion of the hamstrings. And so this is going to be a hamstring curl on a stability ball. So there's your stability element. The ball's going to be wobbling a bit, and we are going to have the hips elevated to add to that stability aspect, okay? So we'll get a little glute work in there as well as a little bit of abdominals. So we are going to start with the lift of the glutes and then exhale and bring those hips in. So what I try to do is like keep my pelvis stable in space. So it's like I'm not like lifting more each time. Because remember, I'm really wanting to get the hamstrings. Okay. So I'm pulling. I feel this all the way from the bottom of my hamstrings towards the top of my knee, all the way into where my butt connects in with my hamstrings, like that tie-in that we're all looking for. And so as I do this, again, mind body, you can see the wobble, right? And that's me trying to stay stable, but I am thinking about my hamstrings, thinking about the shortening and the lengthening. Let's do 2 more. Exhale, pull. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull. Inhale, lengthen, and then I'll just slowly come down. So that is our final exercise. So again, this week, working compound sets, 2 exercise, same body part, a straight up kind of strength exercise with more of a stability element working the same muscle group. We're looking for efficiency. We're looking for muscle fatigue, which is going to stimulate those muscle fibers to grow. And we are looking for that muscle endurance. Again, I'm laying down and I'm huffing and puffing a bit. Okay. So even though I'm laying down, I'm working big muscle groups. My heart rate's going to rise. That's going to give us that increased caloric burn. The mental focus of what am I working on, especially when we add that stability element, because now we're on one leg and we're kind of, whoa, like all over the place, or we're on an unstable ball. And again, we have to have the focus to balance ourselves. A lot of that's going to be core. And then to be thinking about the muscle group we want to work. It's contraction, it's lengthening. We want to breathe, right? And that is what gets that heart rate up. It helps the mental focus, changes things with our muscles, keeps them guessing. This is a great thing to do, the supersets or the compound sets, when you feel like you're at a plateau and you're like, man, I need to break through this plateau. Well, with whatever plateau you're trying to break through, maybe incorporate compound or supersets and see if that kind of pushes you onto that next level. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And always, share Feel Your Core with a friend, because fitness is always more fun with a friend. Thanks so much. See you next time.